Look at my brother, my guy. I love that dude, bro. I'm so blessed. Honestly, I'm so blessed to have a brother, cause I really got lucky for real, cause life be
What's up? I'm just, can you hear me?
fuck with that nigga, man. Life be challenges sometimes.
I want you to see this view. I was driving the golf cart and we're driving all the way around the island.
You know, to have somebody that you can really just like,
Great stuff. Yeah, he's over there. I'm right here.
you
just
can
chilling.
talk
like,
to.
I'm on like a cliff. I'm about to...
It's important. That's invaluable, bro. There's no money. There's no possessions.
I just
There's
want you to see the
no
view and everything. That's all.
places you can go just to have like somebody that you genuinely can
There's
just like
a-
rap
like,
to.
I just don't know.
And
I
just
see
know that
a
like,
way to get
I don't need nothing from you, bruh. I just need you to be here. Yeah, you know, I just need your
honestly,
company, you know.
There's
Some
a whole
real
bunch
shit.
of people down that way, and like,
And I'm gonna leave it there.
find my way up.
Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakahakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who ruled well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and the 1/3 remnant out there listening and doing this word with all faith and sincerity scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth. To you I say shalom. Lord willing, this video is edifying. It's going to be sent around the topic of brotherhood. As you've seen in this video, how much it means to a man to have a brother, right? A true brother. And that's not necessarily saying, you know, a blood relative. It can be, you know, your biological brother, okay? But this is, or in this video, he's referencing a friend, right? And in this walk, brotherhood is critical. Very important to have. We're not here to walk this journey alone, right? Yeah, you know, we all fighting for our salvation, our individual crown, but at the same time, you know, the Lord gave us brothers, right? He gave us like-minded men to navigate this hell through, right? Brothers that are on the same path that we're on. Yahushua had to do it himself, right? But the Lord gave us each other, and that's something not to, you know, take for granted. Okay, not to take lightly. Definitely consider that, you know, in your interactions with brothers, right? Because there's only a few of us, okay? Only a few of us are going to understand. Only a few men are going to understand what you're going through, okay, as far as, you know, spiritually, you know, these different battles. Walking in this world, trying to be righteous, you know, being a man or attempting to be a man of the Lord, right? Only a man who's also doing this is gonna be able to identify with you, right? Be able to understand. And you know, that's very important, and it's beautiful. Okay, because in this world, you have a lot of, you know, fake friends, fake family members. Okay, people who go back and talk shit behind your back. But in this walk, we're not supposed to be that way. Okay, you're supposed to, this is supposed to be the first encounter you've had with a true brother, right? A true friend. Okay. This is John 13:34. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another, as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. See? So the Lord made this a commandment to do this, right? When they ask you, Yahushua, which laws are, the greatest, he said, these ain't all the law. He said, love the Lord with all your heart and love thy neighbor, which would be your brother. Right? And loving your neighbor, it goes deep, whether that's, simply just talking to a brother, motivating a brother, correcting a brother, okay, being there for a brother, that's what that entails of. Okay, through thick and thin, when things get hard, and when you up, by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. So all men are going to know who the Lord's disciples are by the way they treat each other with the utmost respect, not being disrespectful, okay? Not demeaning one another, not looking at each other with the side out, holding grudges, because you in this thing long enough, you will have instances and moments where you might offend a brother or rub a brother the wrong way, and you have to get over that, or a brother might rub you the wrong way. Okay, but at the end of the day, you have to show mercy to get mercy. Okay, show grace to get grace. That old saying, treat others how you would want to be treated. You got to be considerate of that when it comes to dealing with brothers and your interactions. Okay, because a lot of times we get caught up. We're men. We get caught up in things that don't really matter sometimes in the grand scheme of things. Okay, but at the end of the day, this brother is doing the same thing you're doing. Right? He's going out there on the highways and byways. He's making videos on the daily. Okay, he's calling on the names Yahweh and Yahushua. That's that's more than a blessing to meet a brother and be in contact with a brother that's like so, right? Not saying that you got to spend, that you got to be the best of friends, but just that respect and love, okay, is going to be felt. Shouldn't be no schisms. That's what the scriptures talk about, schisms, right? In doctrine nor in individual relationships towards each other, right? Because we're all in one mind, okay? And if, just think about it, you mistreat a brother, the scriptures say, same thing you did to, the least, it's the same thing you did to me, right? And he goes in to say, when you clothe me, and so on, to reiterate the point that, the way we treat each other is the way, we would treat Yahushua. Okay, this is Romans 12:10. Be kindly affection one to another with brotherly love and preferring one another. Right. with brotherly love, okay, and be affectionate, okay, real considerate, okay, because in the curses we lost that tenderness towards your brother, you know. In a lot of ways you can't even be truly yourself if it's not around a brother, because if it's somebody in the world, you start talking about the Lord, you're gonna lose him. All right. But when you talk about something like that with brothers, with like-minded men, you're able to just let it all out. Okay, and then you can trust a brother's judgment. You know, you may be a little conflicted on something, and you know, you might ask that brother, you know, you might know a brother who's more versed in certain areas. Okay. That's what brothers are for. Iron sharpens iron, right? You know? So we got to remember that and walk in that. This is Psalms 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant is it. Or it's like, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity. Right. So it's beautiful for us to be on one accord and to be able to fellowship, you know, to be able to talk to one another, get each other's opinions on different things. Okay, because you're getting, you know, that's what they call holy conversation, right? It's edifying, it's uplifting, it's exhorting, right? Should be into exhorting your brother, making him feel the better, you know. And you can, and that's, you know, people hear that and they think, well, you know, he said something that I didn't like, or he may have hurt my feelings, and now, you know, but you have to see past that. You know, maybe that brother was telling you this because it was out of love, right? Scriptures say, rebuke a righteous man, he will love you. Right? So rebuke is also a part of it. A lot of Jake can't get told nothing. You know, you tell him something and then now it's, you know, it's something else. All of a sudden he offended, but then your woman could tell you some shit and Jake ain't got nothing to say. He take that. Right? So in a lot of ways, Jake moves backwards, but coming into this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, that's supposed to change. Okay? You're supposed to come out of that, not go further into it, you know. This is 1 John 4:20. If a man say, I love the Most High, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love power whom he hath not seen? Which is referring to Yahushua. Right? How could you love the Heavenly Father or his only begotten Son? We ain't seen them, but you see brothers all you know, every week, and you treat them like shit. The Lord, for one, the Lord's gonna fuck you up, because ultimately you're treating the Lord some type of way, right? Because that's who we are representatives of. At the end of the day, we're supposed to be representing the Most High and His only begotten Son, right? So you have to remember that. You have to keep that at your forefront, okay? And you thinking certain things about brothers holding grudges and shit, thinking that, you know, you're going to get away with it. Nah, man, the Lord, You don't play that shit. You know? This is Proverbs 17:17. A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. What is more adverse than this life, man? That's why we have brothers to help get each other through this. That's why it's important to find brothers in your area, or, you know, build relationships with brothers when you meet them, because you never know. You know, the Lord's putting His brother in your path for a reason. You should, you know, explore that. Okay, with all good intent, because if you think, you know, Jake think he's sneaky and shit, trying to yike nah, man, but on a genuine level. Okay, because the Lord see through all the bullshit. Okay. And this is a beautiful thing anyway. So if you're not doing it, you just a fool and you missing out. So with that, I give all praise and glory to you. How about Shema Shabbat Shem Rakakudash Wa Baba Ball and DTA DTN.